everybody, it's Miss Frost. Happy Monday, or whatever day you're watching this. I'm super excited to be here with you for lesson 6 of our Matter and Energy and Ecosystems unit. So in our last lesson, we learned about how you can decrease energy storage molecules in an ecosystem. We learned 2 different ways. We learned that you can decrease them by decreasing the amount of carbon dioxide or decreasing the amount of sunlight. We know that sunlight stayed constant in the biodome, and so we are going to try to figure out what caused the decrease in carbon dioxide that caused the decrease in energy storage molecules that caused the biodome to fail. So let's get started by getting our helpful supplies. So for today's lesson, if you have access to Schoology or a paper packet, that would be great. But just as always, if you just have a pen and paper or a pencil and paper, you can do this lesson with me right now. So we are going to start by gathering a little bit of evidence about something called cellular respiration, okay? Cellular respiration. So that's our learning objective today. Today, I want you to walk away feeling like, I know a little bit about cellular respiration and I have some evidence of what it is. We're also going to write our observations of what releases carbon dioxide, specifically at when and where, and if producers and consumers are just producers, just consumers, or no, who's releasing the carbon dioxide into the ecosystem, right? So let's get into it. By doing these things, it's going to help us figure out what caused the carbon dioxide to decrease in the air, the abiotic matter of the biodome. So I know I already said that in our intro, but that's specifically what our next few lessons is going to be focused on. What caused carbon dioxide to decrease in the air, abiotic matter of the biodome? I also, in our learning objective, use academic language. So as always, I want to make sure y'all know what I'm talking about and you know the definitions or what scientists consider these things to be. So when I say cellular respiration, I mean the chemical reaction between oxygen and glucose that releases energy into cells, right? So there is a organelle in cells called mitochondria, and it takes in oxygen, right? We do it by breathing, and glucose, those energy storage molecules from producers, and then it has a chemical reaction that then releases energy that it can use so you can hear me talk and move and do all of this crazy stuff, okay? Cellular respiration. This is just a closer up of that image so that we can see this is the mitochondria in an organism cell. It has oxygen going in, glucose, an energy storage molecule going in, and water, carbon dioxide, and energy coming out. So that's what happens when we breathe in that oxygen, we take some glucose from food that we've eaten, mix it up, right? Chemical reaction happens, and then we have energy we can use, and then we exhale carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. We're also going to learn about something called a decomposer. You've probably heard this used in this unit before or in previous learning sometime in your academic career. A decomposer is an organism that gets energy storage molecules from dead matter. They eat dead stuff, okay? So that's like if you've ever seen a worm eats dead stuff in the soil. There are animals that break down logs. There's fungus that can break down dead logs. There's also bacteria and other microorganisms that are numbing all of that dead stuff. And it's amazing because if we didn't have decomposers, there'd just be dead corpses everywhere. But we want to learn a little bit more about this. And so we're going to watch a video called Decomposers. While we're watching this video, you want to look for 3 observations because that's going to help us answer number 1 in our packet. Okay, so you're looking for 3 observations during this video. 3 observations. So let's watch this video. Again, I'm sorry it's going to be a little bit funky because it's going to play out my speakers and then you're going to hear it come back through, but it's what we got. So let's open this up. Back to our slide. Okay. So pause and respond. Record 3 observations about decomposers. Awesome job, y'all. Thank you so much for pausing and responding. We are back, and what we're going to talk about is my 3 observations. Okay, so first I heard that waste is a good source of energy. I heard that decomposers break down waste and dead stuff. I heard that decomposers can fit anywhere in an ecosystem, right? Along that food chain where she had the apple, the mouse, the owl. It can fit all along there depending on what's happening. And decomposers break dead stuff and waste down into nutrients that can then be used by plants, which is sort of amazing, right? So we can see how decomposers maybe have a role in a decrease in the carbon dioxide. I don't know. We'll see in the biodome, right? Okay, so let's move on. We're going to watch a video that's going to help us get an understanding of what gives off carbon dioxide during an experiment and what doesn't. So let's watch this video real quick.
Last time we saw that plants use carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. But where does the carbon dioxide in an ecosystem come from? In this experiment, we see whether producers or consumers give off carbon dioxide. In the box, we have a producer, the water plant called Alodia, and a consumer, the snail. First, we start with 3 vials, each containing water and a chemical that tells us how much carbon dioxide is in the vials. The chemical's color will change according to the amount of carbon dioxide. Yellow means that there's a high level of carbon dioxide, green means that there's a low level, and blue means that there is no carbon dioxide. Right now, the vials have no carbon dioxide because we want to test which organisms give off carbon dioxide. Next, we'll add an Alodia plant to vial B and a freshwater snail to vial C. Vial A, with no organism, will be the control group. Finally, we wrap all 3 vials in foil. We don't want light to interfere with our results since we know that plants perform photosynthesis and take in carbon dioxide from the environment in the light. We're going to check back with the vials after 12 hours. What do you think will happen to the carbon dioxide levels?
All right, y'all, pause and respond. I want you to predict which organism, the snail or the Alodia, will give off carbon dioxide during the experiment. Okay, thank you so much for writing a prediction for number 2. I'm not going to tell you my prediction. So instead, we're just going to move right in and we're going to watch the results of this experiment. This is 12 hours later.
It's been 12 hours, so let's unwrap the vials to see what happened. It looks like vial A, the control, is unchanged, which we expected. Vial B and C, with the plant and the snail, have changed color. First they were blue, and now they're yellow.
Oh.
This means that both producers and consumers give off carbon dioxide.
Awesome. Cute little snail. Look at that little snail. Okay, so what we were able to see is that both Alodia and snails gave off carbon dioxide. So pause and respond. Answer number 3. Which organisms gave off carbon dioxide during the experiment? All right, fabulous job, y'all. We are on to a little activity. This is going to help us understand who does cellular respiration. So we just learned that snails can cellular respirate, meaning they take in oxygen, right? They do some cellular respiration in their cells, and then they let off carbon dioxide to get energy, right? So that's how we do it as well. And so do plants. Even though plants can make their own energy storage molecules through photosynthesis, they also break that glucose that they made down so that they can use it, not just store it. And so what we're going to look into is thinking about a set of images and sorting them into 2 different categories: gives off carbon dioxide and does not give off carbon dioxide. So I want you to pause and respond and answer question number 4. Which of these images gives off carbon dioxide and which doesn't? So you can make your table like this and then just write the names if it gives off or does not give off carbon dioxide. All right, pause and respond, y'all. All right, welcome back. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort these images. So first, decomposers. We learned they can give off carbon dioxide, right? Because they're breaking that dead matter and waste down, and they're cellular respirating, taking the energy storage molecules from the dead matter and the waste and turning it into nutrients and exhaling carbon dioxide, right? Letting it go. Oh, but dead matter does not give off carbon dioxide, right? So even though there's energy storage molecules in dead matter, it doesn't give off carbon dioxide unless it's broken down by a decomposer. And then the decomposer is the one that's giving off carbon dioxide, not the dead matter. Okay, so secondary consumers like snakes give off carbon dioxide. We're secondary consumers. Hi. Producers like the Alodia plant gives off carbon dioxide. Mushrooms, decomposers, also give off carbon dioxide. And snails, primary consumers, meaning they eat producers, give off carbon dioxide. So it looks like all parts of an ecosystem give off carbon dioxide unless it's abiotic matter or dead matter. Okay, so what we're going to do now is record four key concepts. Woo. I'm sorry, I know. The lesson before we had 3, now we have 4. So just like we did last time, I'm going to read you the key concept. You're going to pause. You're going to write it in your own words on your little key concept table here. All right, so key concept number 4. When there is more carbon in the form of carbon dioxide in abiotic matter, more carbon is available to producers for making energy storage molecules. Okay, so if there's more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, there's more carbon to make energy storage molecules. All right, so I guess I'll go back to number 4. Pause and respond, y'all. Pause and respond. Okay, moving on to number 5. Sorry about that. Key concept number 5. When there is less carbon in the form of carbon dioxide in abiotic matter, so there's less carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, less carbon is available for producers for making energy storage molecules. All right, pause and respond, y'all. Key concept number 6. Okay, we're almost done. Second to last one. When there is more sunlight, producers can make more energy storage molecules from the carbon in carbon dioxide. Okay, so we saw that in the sim in our last lesson, right, where there's more sunlight, so there was more energy storage molecules. When there was less sunlight, there was less energy storage molecules. All right, write it down, y'all. Pause and respond. And our final key concept of today, number 7. When there is less sunlight, producers cannot make as much energy storage molecules from the carbon and carbon dioxide. Pause and respond, y'all. Write it down. All right, everybody. 7, the cat that just meowed, and I thank you so much for coming to lesson number 6. I hope you were able to understand a little bit and gather a little bit of evidence that decomposers break down dead matter and that producers and consumers give off carbon dioxide through cellular respiration. Thanks, y'all. I'll see you next time.